For today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this adorable little mermaid that I made on my Addi 22 circular knitting machine. And this is the tube that goes with it. So you start with the hair and you work your way down as I'm showing you here with waste yarn. And you're going to want to screenshot this because this is how I made the tube itself. And you're going to want to leave a long tail of 6 inches between every color change except between the hair and face. And I'll explain that to you later. Also, you're going to want some hair yarn, and I highly recommend this Lion Brand Shawl in a Ball. This has sparkles in it, which I think is absolutely awesome. I didn't use it for this hair, but it's basically the same colors, only it has some sparkly metallic material in there to make it shimmer. And I think it's perfect for mermaid hair. And this color is Pastel Pixie if you're interested. And the reason I think it's perfect is because it's a cotton yarn that has acrylic wrapped around it. So it's not going to split or unravel at the ends like regular yarn. Plus it's super thin, so it's not going to weigh down the doll's head. You're also going to need a 4.25 millimeter hook, as well as a 3.75 millimeter hook. And you're also going to need some embroidery thread for the eyes, unless you have some safety eyes. And I also recommend getting these. I think I got these from the Dollar Tree. They're just these clear rubber bands, and I use them to help stabilize the hair as I make it more permanent. And then I also use decorative ribbon from Hobby Lobby. And this is optional, of course. I just like adding the little tutu. I think it's so cute. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our 4.25 millimeter hook at the cast off end. And as you can see, this is where I'm starting, and I'm counting to the 11th stitch. And I'm going to use the slip stitch method to close this tube. You may already be familiar with the slip stitch method, but I'm just showing you here that you are basically taking each loop through the next one, going back and forth from inner to outer. And this is going to close up the tube. And I really like doing it this way so I don't have all that excess yarn by using another strand of yarn. So you're just going to keep doing that across. So here I am at the end. I've picked up all 22 stitches, and now I'm going to remove the waste yarn. And now you're going to slightly stretch your tube and line up the stitches in the rows as much as possible with the base of the tube. So you want all the stitches to be lined up as much as possible. And then you're going to add eyes, those embroidery eyes, as I show you in this linked video above, and it's also in the description box. And that's what it's going to look like. Once you have your eyes on, you're going to go down to the fin area. That's that last color of the tube that we just closed up. So you're going to go all the way to the bottom, and you're going to expose that first row there. And here's the long tail that I left myself, and you want to make sure that the tail that you leave is the same color as the tail of the mermaid, because we're going to use it a lot. So I'm picking up all of the stitches of the first row of the fin. And this is going to allow me to cinch this shut. So I've got all 22 stitches, and now I'm going to go back through all 22 stitches as I'm showing you here to just reinforce those stitches. Now you're going to cinch it as tightly shut as you can, because this is going to create a ruffled effect. It also creates the fin for us. Do not cut your excess yarn because we are going to be using that. We're going to lightly stuff the tail of the mermaid. And as you can see, I brought the tail of the excess yarn up through the tube. Now you're going to pinch this tube together at the level of the sides of the fins. And we're going to tack those areas together, and that is just going to create a more mermaid tail look. So I'm showing you up close here. You're going to come out about right there. And then I'm just going to gently pinch that area together and I'm going to sew it closed through both layers. I just do it a couple of times. And as you can see, it makes it look more narrow. But now I'm going to take it back through here to the side that I want curved. And I'm going to pinch this area closed. And I'm just sewing through everything, through the fin, through the tail. And this is going to give me the ability to hide my knot right there. And also it's going to give me the ability to curve the tail upward, and putting the yarn through that fin area will cause the stitches not to stretch that way. So save that tail, we're going to use it later. And now we are going to go to the level of the waist. And I left myself this long tail here. And as you can see, I'm going to be picking up the first row of the tail. It's that purple color there. And I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did with the fin end, only I'm probably not going to close it all the way. So I'm going to reinforce my stitches. And after you reinforce your stitches, you're going to cinch it closed. And like I said, I don't cinch it completely closed because I think it creates too much of a wrinkle and it looks weird. Now we are going to curve the tail like we talked about. You're going to take that same tail that we've been working with, and we're going to sew it through the side here. There's no method to my madness. Just put it through the side where you want it to curve, and then bring it out through the middle here. And as you can see, you can curve it however much you want. And then I'm going to tie the waist tail to the mermaid tail together in knots until I get it secure. And then I'm just going to cut off the excess. Now, as you can see, it curves to the side, and you may have to manipulate the stuffing a little bit. And now I'm also going to hide this tail, and this is what it should look like so far. Now we're going to lightly stuff the torso. I don't put very much at all. And then we're going to use that long tail that we left ourselves, and we're going to pick up the first row of the torso. And then now you're going to reinforce those stitches and cinch it shut. I do cinch this one all the way closed. This is actually the neck. And then now we're going to stuff the head and cinch the top shut with the cast on end. And of course I ended it the same way. I reinforced the stitches and knotted it off. Now I also make arms, as I have in this other video, and once you make 2 of those arms, you're going to sew them onto the doll as I show you here. So be sure to check out that link that's linked above and in the description box if you want to make these arms. But I make them the exact same way as I do my cupcake dolls. And this is also the same way that I attach them to the cupcake dolls. Once you get it sewn on just one time like this, I just knot them off at the armpit area. And then I take the ends and stuff them into the head and then cut off the excess. And I just repeat that to the other side. And then once you have both arms on, you can hot glue the tulle ribbon if you decided to get some, which I think it's so cute. Like, I really think this adds a lot of visual interest to these little mermaid dolls. And I just lightly hot glue all the way around. I do have a low temp hot glue gun because you don't want to use too much. Now I also make a mini rose that I use in this same cupcake doll tutorial that I have linked for you. And I just sew it to the little doll hands like she's holding the rose. If you want to use a different flower, that's perfectly fine. Maybe something that's found in the ocean, but I really just didn't have time to create anything else at the time that I made this tutorial. So I'm going through twice. I'm going through the hands and through the bottom of the rose twice. And then once I have that done, I'm going to knot the ends together to secure it. And then I take the tails through the center of the rose to hide the tails. And then I just cut off the excess. You could hot glue it too in there if you wanted to really secure it. Now I also make sleeves, like princess sleeves, as if it were a princess dress, and I will link it in the description box and above for you. And once you have 2 of those, I just hot glue them to the shoulder area. Now this is completely optional, of course, but I think it adds a lot of visual interest. You could also sew them on. And then now we will add the hair. And I used a piece of cardboard, 5-inch cardboard. Actually, I used a DVD case. And you're going to wrap it about 88 times. I technically cut way more than that because I wanted 4 colors to choose from, and the color changes are kind of further apart. But regardless, you want to start with the color that's closest to the color of the hair on the tube. So see here, I'm starting with the color yellow. And you're just going to grab 1 strand, and you're going to grab the vertical bars of each stitch. So both of these vertical bars when you are doing this. And I'm using the lark's knot. So essentially you just pull the middle through and then you pull the tails through. It's super easy. This is also how you would add fringe to a blanket. So I'm picking up the next 2 vertical bars of the stitch beside it. And that's where I'm placing the next strand. And I'm going in each stitch through both vertical bars. And I'm going all the way around the circumference of the head with this 1 color. If you're planning to use the same color throughout, that's totally fine. But I want to do a different color each round. So I'm going to start with the yellow and I'm going to end right here. And then you're going to go up to the next stitch. So here we are, and we're going to go up 1, and I'm going to do the exact same thing, only I'm going to change colors. And then you're just going to keep repeating the process, picking up the vertical bars of the next stitch and adding a strand of hair. So of course you're just going to keep doing this all the way around, and of course you should still only have 22 because you're doing it on the vertical bars of each stitch. And we're going to do this for a total of 4 rounds. So for example, the next round I would change color to purple and then do a whole round of purple, and then I would go up a stitch and change color to this beautiful turquoise. And do a whole round of that. And so as you can see, I've got the yellow, the pink, the purple, and the turquoise. So that's 4 rounds that you would do all the way around the perimeter of the crown, and you should have 22 of each color. and then I'll meet you here. So here I am. The rest of the crown is going to be left undone because there's 3 rounds left because we did a total of 7 rounds for the hair. And you're going to want to find the eyes, and you're going to want to separate the hair in the front from the rest. So I usually use the eyes as a guide. And I separate that out, and then I take the rest of the hair that's left over and swoop it to one side. And then I take one of those clear rubber bands and I just wrap it around the ponytail here. This just holds it in place for me. I twist the front hair to sort of give a little bit more visual interest. And then I also get another clear rubber band and tie it around both ponytails there. Now these are not the sturdiest rubber bands, so I do not recommend only securing with these rubber bands. If you need to hot glue some of that hair down over that bald spot, you could do that, but I also knot a piece of hair several times around this area just to kind of help secure it so it doesn't come undone if those rubber bands break. But you are done. Aren't they so cute? I love them so much. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial today. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching.